What are the Detroit Pistons doing? Ain't heard nothing about an interview, nothing about an extensive search. I ain't heard nothing about Tom Gores reaching out to the NBA or hiring a NBA third party to do a coaching search or a GM search and nothing like that. We back. It's Motor City Sports Talk. Told you guys we had a Piston video coming up. We dropping it. We providing the sauce. And, you got Ish Smith saying that, this roster is special. Whoever inherits it is going to be good. Obviously, it's either one or two things going on. One, the Pistons ain't being proactive and really trying to go out there and look for a candidate. And the candidate they trying to look for is probably still in the playoffs. Or two, nobody wants a Detroit Pistons job, which I could believe with a terrible roster. And it could be some handicap things about taking this job. Things you can't do, things you can do. That could be a situation. I think somebody or anybody doesn't want this this basketball operations job. I think they're offering it. I think they're trying to get interviews, and I think people are turning them down. Because it's been nothing about them interviewing anybody. It's been nothing positive coming back from searches. I just think it's not an attractive job. And when you don't have no cap space, no draft picks in the first round, I mean, who would want to take this job? Especially if they're not willing to pay the money, that is eye-popping this. Oh, man, they paid me that much money. I don't want the job, but as much money they paid me, I'm going to go ahead and take it. If they ain't offering that type of money, and with this situation, they're not going to get a top-tier coach or basketball operations GM type of guy. And I think what it's coming down to is people don't want the job. They're not offering enough money. They don't want to come to Detroit in the first place. And the roster is horrendous. The roster is terrible, man. Three players eating all your cap space out. None of them can play consistent defense. None of them are really superstars, or top-tier superstars. You can't mold this team into nothing. And, Tom Gores probably telling you can't trade Blake Griffin, you can't trade Reggie, you can't trade Dre. Those are my demands. And, somebody who's probably not qualified for this job and had no experience and not innovative and not too smart is probably going to end up with this Pistons job. You ain't heard nothing, and it's scary, man. You would think they would have already got a basketball operations. The draft is, in a couple weeks, in June 16th or something like that? And there's no basketball operations guy there. Jeff Bowers is just an intern guy. Free agency is about to open not too long as well. There's nobody there. It's a good time to think about trading some players and remolding the roster. Right before the draft combine, you can chop it up with other GMs and you can meet face to face. You can eat dinner and do this and that. You can introduce your new GM there. You can go there and see everybody. That ain't happening. And it just shows you when you got an owner who don't know what the hell he doing in Tom Gores, Pistons not going to be good for a long time. And that's a shame, man, because when the Pistons are good, man, Detroit is rocking, man. The summers, when they make deep playoff runs, they make noise, Detroit is like no other. It's no other team that can have Detroit rocking in the summertime where, in the NFL and the NHL really don't run into summer. So, it's no team that can have the city rocking like the Pistons making a deep playoff run, man, in the summertime. Detroit is definitely a different town. It's a more happier town when Pistons and the Detroit Pistons are making deep playoff runs, and especially if they can make deep playoff run while they playing in Detroit at the Little Caesars Palace. It'll be a great experience, but we got an owner who don't know what the hell he's doing, and it is what it is. It's just footnotes and footsteps about this guy's being is interested, or this guy's being targeted. Nobody's being interviewed, and I think it's people don't want to come to Detroit and coach this team. This roster is that bad. Stan Van Gundy must have been hired by the highest powers of Piston haters in history to come mess this roster up, and that's exactly what he did. And I turn on Instagram or Facebook and I see Andre Drummond practicing step-back three-pointers. I'm like, yeah, we're not going to be good for another few thousand years, man. And it's a shame, though, but at least a lot of us was around in 2004 and some of us was around in 88, 89 to see the Pistons win it. And at least it's not a Detroit Lions situation where, none of us pretty much was alive to see the Lions win a championship, let alone they never won a Super Bowl. So at least we could say, a lot of us, we could say the Pistons, we seen the Pistons win it once, or we was alive when they won it multiple times before. But it is what it is, man. Just, dropping some knowledge about the Pistons real quick. And maybe when I drop this video, they might hire or some news might come out. I might motivate them or something, but don't look like too much going on. It's Motor City Sports Talk. It's your boy CJ Goodfella. We gone.